This visit comes at a very critical time in the region. We've agreed that the only solution is to diffuse escalations among all parties. And we've also agreed that dialogue and only dialogue is the only route to any solution to any crisis.
Dorsa Jabbari joins us now from Tehran. And Dorsa, just take us through what was said here. The appearances are obviously important, but the message here about de-escalation as well.
Yes, this was a very unexpected visit, but the Iranian president said that he had invited the Emir of Qatar to come to the Iranian capital to hold a private session on various issues. At the top of their agenda was apparently the security in the region and the rise in tensions between Iran and the United States. We also heard that the Iranian president who said that there will be a joint commission formed between the two countries to discuss strengthening of ties, political and economic ties between the two countries. This visit is very, very important because this is the first time the Emir of Qatar, since he became the Emir in 2013, has come to Iran. And the Emir himself said that Qatar is grateful for the assistance that they received following the 2017 blockade. And the Iranians came to their aid by opening, having at their disposal the airspace and the seaports. So the discussions were held in a private session at Saadabad Palace, where the two leaders met. And now we understand that the meeting's finished, and the Qatari Emir has said that he has invited President Rouhani to come to Qatar at his earliest convenience. So clearly this is a message not only to the regional countries, but also to the international community that Iran and Qatar are, again, very close allies, and that relationship is only getting stronger.
What does Qatar bring to a meeting like this? It's significant, isn't it, that you look around the region, which countries can bring any influence, and Qatar is significantly one of them?
Well, clearly it's a smaller country with bigger means, as it were, and it has a vested interest in regional security, especially in the Gulf, where the livelihood of Qatar, of course, is dependent on it. So there are altruistic and non-altruistic reasons of why Qatar would want to take an initiative in order to be a bridge rather than a hamper, if you will, towards regional security. If you look carefully on two levels, level number one, hardly any country in the region, any leader, is able to make this kind of visit, while at the same time maintaining relations with the American leadership, European leadership, and the Iraqi leadership at the same time, trying to bridge ideas and facilitate dialogue of sort, as we've heard in the press conference. On a second level and more broader regional level, I mean, look, it's so sad that there isn't two countries, two neighbors in the region that don't have border or other problems. This region,
and they touched on that, of course, with the blockade that Qatar is experiencing.
There aren't two countries in the region that don't have problems, and this region is not lacking in passions. It's not lacking in emotions. It's not lacking in violence. What is lacking is in bridging, in dialogue, in trying to arrive at a situation whereby violence is not necessary and pulling back from the brink of war when it's possible. And Qatar did play that role before the blockade in mediating between different parties, whether they were Sudanese or Lebanese or Palestinians, and so on and so forth. And I think there is a role to be played here. Of course, for the Iranians, they have their own vested interests as well, to have an important regional player like Qatar to be coming to Tehran, to be talking about relations, economic, business, and culture, and so on and so forth. It's also good for Iran that's trying to look like it was not isolated.
And it's really interesting too, isn't it, what message Iran might also be sending to the United States at the same time, because the choice of language, I thought, was really interesting, where the Emir of Qatar specifically said the importance of de-escalation on all sides, all sides. So Iran as well. What do you take away from that?
Well, the de-escalation and the maritime security, the security of shipping in the Gulf. For the Iranian and the Qatari leaders to be speaking about today, about security in the Gulf and security for shipping is very important, because everyone understood if a major war breaks out, that's, of course, the first battle, if you will, between the United States and Iran. All those measures, the confidence-building measures, the fact that we all know, and I'm not suggesting in any which way that the Emir of Qatar is carrying any messages, but just the fact that the Emir of Qatar is in conversation with the Americans and the Europeans and the Iraqis and the Iranians means that there is a dialogue going on. And that's important for the very strategic reason that the conditions for last week's escalation remain the same. The sanctions, the non-existence, more or less de facto, of the nuclear deal as the United States walked away from it, doubling down on the sanctions, as you were saying earlier, the destabilization of Iraq, the instability within Iran, and all of that, of course, are moving targets.
But the dialogue has changed. A week ago, everyone was talking about war. Now we're talking de-escalation. The American response to the admission of responsibility over the downing of the plane has been interesting. They haven't gone on the attack against Iran. This talk of de-escalation today, all sides are showing that they are very careful about what they're saying right now.
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, just to put it in 2 words, the American president has demonstrated, not proven, that he doesn't want war with Iran. And the Iranian leadership has proven that they don't want war with the United States. That's important. The problem is not so much in the predetermined intention to go to war. The problem is that tensions build up, escalations builds up, and that has unintended consequences like going to war because it's so sensitive. And we've seen that from the very, very tragic downing of that civilian Ukrainian flight. If that can happen, imagine if it was something else as well in addition. So the escalation of war could happen sometimes by mistake, just simply because the tensions are high. And that's why, once again, I underline the fact that it's not just important that we pulled away, and we are pulling away. What is even more important is to have that dialogue that removes the causes of war and the escalation towards war in the future.
And that was the word specifically used by the Emir, dialogue. Marwan, thank you for that. Marwan Bishara joining us there.